Welcome everyone, KD here with part 3 of my tutorial how you can create a simple play character with movement, camera and character movements with different skins and customization options and to set up some simple animations. So in part 1, link in the description, I showed you how to set up everything so the game knows what blueprint is your player character. In part 2, I showed you the movements I show you right now. I showed you how you can move around your character so he turns. I showed you how to move around your camera, how you can zoom out and zoom in. What I want to show you today is how to set up your basic skeleton mesh and how you can, if you want to change the skin of the character, and how to set up the right animations for that. So for that we go out of here, we go into our player character. Here you see the inputs we made the last time. So now at the beginning I added my character in here directly, and that's fine. When you press on mesh you can select here the character, and that's fine if you have a character that has just one skin and he stays like this. But maybe you have a second character that has similar movements and you want to switch between to have the possibility to switch between them, so you don't have to create two play characters and you don't have to change the game mode. Absolutely, if you work in the same maps, this could be problematic switching between two play characters because we have set our play characters at the beginning, and it's much easier if we just change the skin as long as the basic movements are the same. I mean, the animations can still be different. As example, if you press X or something like that, one character punches, the other character kicks, that you can make that with the animations. So I will show you how you can change this, the skin, also how you can add animations to it. So first, to how to change the skin. For that we make a new custom event. We press the right mouse button, we press in custom, and then you see here under add events, add custom event. That's what we want to. We can select a name, always label everything so you find it later on. You need to tell this thing is skin selection. And now we take the command set skeletal mesh, and now you see here we have two different ones, set skeletal mesh for headgear or set skeletal mesh for mesh. Our mesh is our main skeletal mesh, so that's what we want to change right now. We set this, we get our command, and we see here our reference to our mesh. You could now, if you selected the wrong one, just take the headgear as example and you can put this in here, and of course these break the links here, but right now we need our mesh. Now what you can do here is here select our test dummy, and if I deselect our test dummy here, let's also deselect the headgear here. That means when we go to the viewport we see nothing, but if we compile this here, and we play it, we still will see nothing, and I will in a moment tell you why. So you see there is nothing. I can move the camera is still there, but I don't see anything. Problem is, we didn't tell the map to load the right skin. So what we go here, this is our map, and we go to blueprint, open level blueprint. Here, this is our level blueprint. That's how we tell the level. What happens here? We add events, we add characters if you want to, and so on. And here we have two different events. If the event begin play and the event tick. In the event begin play, we set everything up that is at the beginning of the map, everything you want. Maybe you want to put in an enemy or anything like that. We'll make this in event begin play. In event tick, we put everything in that can change in the map. Maybe you want to save the position, the location of your character. You can do this here and other things. Or you want to spawn in as soon as as you destroy an enemy, you want to spawn in another enemy or something like that. Then you have to do that in the event tick, but be very careful with the event quick tick. Everything, if you like say you want just to spawn in one enemy and you put in the event tick, if you do it wrong, you can put in spawn in the enemy over and over and over again. So it's maybe better to do it in the event begin play, or there is the function do once here, so he will do it only one time. But again, everything you don't necessarily need to put in to event tick, put it in another event. There are many different ways. Only really what you need to do, only the things you really need to put into event tick, put into event tick. You can really destroy your performance if you put too many things in here, or you can get infinite loops what will get to errors and things like that. So be careful with that event. What we want to do, we want to only do it once, so we go to event begin play, and now we have to get our reference to our player character. For that we get all actors of a class. This is a very useful function. Now we can here select our class. We should find our player character somewhere here. That's our player character, how I labeled it, so maybe you labeled it different. You can also search for it, then it's a little bit easier. Player character blueprint. Now we have to get a copy. So now with the get a copy, we can select every event, every variable, and so on we made in our actor blueprint, and we can change it here or set it up here and so on. So what we do, we get our event. Don't put in event. What you can do, if you forgot how you called your event, you can go on the call functions and then you see all the events you created yourself. You can select here, or you can, if you remember how you call it, you can just press it in here. So skin selection, that's the event we want, and that's already all we want to do. So now when we begin, so I compile that, save that. Now when we load the map, we will get our actor blueprint, press here, and we will play this event. And playing this event is setting the skeletal mesh test dummy. to our main mesh. Now when we play, here he is back. So you may now say that's a lot more complicated than just put the skeleton mesh into here. And you're not exactly wrong, but now we can change the skeleton mesh if we want to. For that, I will go here, I get a copy, and now I can make an array. And here I can, as example, take my test dummy, and I can add more meshes to it. So I have my test dummy 2, which is a different mesh. And now you see here with the get, we have a number here. So if I have 0, our test dummy, so I compile this, our test dummy 1 should come up. Here we have our test dummy 1. If I press here on 1, see we have a different test dummy, and we changed our mesh. So now of course we want to change that maybe directly in the game itself. Maybe we want to give the player the input to change the character. Right now I will create a variable for changing the input here on the get. I will put this directly in our player character. Just for your information, it may be better to say to put it in your save instead of here, because here as soon as you load a new map or as you start a new game, the game will forget that you choose this, that you change this variable. So if you put it in the save file and you save it on checkpoints or every time you change it, the game will remember it. So the next time you load it, for any reasons, it will remember which character you have selected. So you have to know that. I put now the variable in here, but you can also put it in your save. But because this is not about saving, I have a tutorial about saving. Go look there how you do it if you're not sure. So we add here a variable. I call this character number. Of course, this is not a boolean. It should be integer, but it's the same color like here. So really look on the color code if you're not sure. Here, integer. And we can actually get this here and connect this one. So if I compile this now, it should get the default value 0. So now how can we change it? That's up to you how you want to. You can create a widget with a button that and you can select it like this. Maybe you don't want the player to have this selection, so you change it, change the selection in a event that happens when you maybe enter a trigger box or anything like that. What I will do now is that we just press a button and we toggle between the two characters. So just be aware that this is just one method. If your game is different, you have to change it. And for that I select the button, just a button, maybe not two, maybe let's take numpad 0, and we get our event for this button. It's as soon as we pressed it, and we get our variable in here, get I could have taken it directly from here, it doesn't matter, but just so there is no confusion, I get a new character number reference. What I do now is I make a branch. Now when this here is equal to 0, I will put this into the branch. If it's true, we want to change it to 1. So I get my character number here, set, and this change here to 1. If this is wrong, then probably this number is 1, so we want to have it back to 0. So I get another character number and I put it in. So now if you have more than 2 characters, it's not as simple as that. You have to make more branches and always define the number. But for now, this is fine. So we are not exactly finished here. I can show you when I go in here and I press 0, nothing happens. Why is that? Because we have to go back and reference this event here, otherwise nothing will happen. We just change this number, but we don't change the skeleton mesh. So that's pretty simple. We just, because the event is in the same blueprint, so we just have to call a function and go get the skin selection for both. So now when I compile and play, and I press 0, we switch between the characters. So we can go a little bit further with that. What I want to show you it also is like we can also set the material or the textures for our characters. Here is the element for the material. I have only one element for my character. There's only one material, so 0 is fine. Remember that in Unreal Engine 4, 0 is always the first thing you get. Also here you make array, you see 0 is the first one, not 1. It's always 0 first. Now I can select here the material. I had the blue material as example. I have here 2 different materials, black and yellow. And now, like I said, I can select it here, but I want to do something similar like I did before. Get material mesh. No, get a copy. I'm sorry, of course, get a copy. Get the copy. We make an array. So now you can do here different things. If you want your character black, as example, let's do 0 as the blue one we had already. And if you want the character black, as example, I'll show you. I get number 1. Then the material should be different now for both characters. Now we have the black material. So you can now make a second variable and a second command with toggling between these 2 materials. What I want to show you now is that we want one material for one character and the other material for the other characters, so we can identify them better. So just take the character number, put it into get, we play, we see this guy has blue material and this guy has black material. Now I think we stop it here. I want to show you how to add animations because it's in the same, but this tutorial is already quite stretched out. So I will show you animations in the next tutorial because it takes a moment to set up the blueprint for animations. And here you see this is already a little bit of customization, how you can change the characters, you can change the materials of your characters, and so on. So I will make 2 more parts, one about how you can set up your animations, second how you can make more customizations with our headgear skeletal mesh. So thank you for watching and see you in part 4.